Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Those of you who joined us online, as well as those of you who joined us in person. My name is Amanda Malone. I'm from Roseborough Travel Agency. I'm one of the owners here. I'm so excited you came in today into the office, and those of you who joined us online, to talk a little bit about Princess and Alaska. So super excited about that. And I'm going to go ahead and let Tom Muldoon take it away and tell you everything there is to know about going to Alaska.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yes.
All right, let me see if I can just get this off the screen real quick here. All right, good deal. Hey, well, thanks for coming out today. My name is Tom Muldoon. I'm the Business Development Manager for Princess Cruises here in Central Florida. Just to give you a quick background on myself, I've been in the industry for 35 years. Spent 10 years at a little company called Premier Cruise Line. I don't know if anybody remembers the big red boats that sailed out of Port Canaveral, the official cruise line of Disney before Disney did their own thing. Worked for Norwegian Cruise Line, worked in the hotel industry a little bit out by Disney, just dying to get back into the cruise industry. Got back in 2016. I was with MSC Cruises for about 8 years. And in February of this year, Princess called me up and asked me to come and join their company and join their team. So I was really excited to join Princess, especially because Princess was really my first introduction to cruising. And it wasn't even on a cruise ship. It was back in 1975 when the Love Boat came on TV. So it was really my first introduction to cruising was watching the Love Boat. And I really think that that really brought cruising really to the forefront. I think before that was on TV, I think people really assumed cruising was really something that really only the wealthy did. And we all know it's really something that really anybody can do. And I think that really brought it to the forefront of the US. So really happy that Princess was able to do that with their show. So Princess currently right now, we've been in business for 60 years. This is our 60th anniversary. So we were founded back in 1965. We currently are sailing 16 ships are actually sailing with us. Our 17th ship, technically it is sailing. It was just launched 2 days ago. The Star Princess is sailing with us in Europe right now. So as you can see, we have 17 ships in our fleet. Sizes range from as few as 2,000 passengers up to as many as 4,300 passengers. Something you should know about Princess is that Princess is a premium cruise line. So when you look at Norwegian, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, MSC, those are all considered contemporary cruise lines. Princess is a premium cruise line, so we're kind of a step up. So our guests expect better food, they expect better service. One thing that's really glaring when you look at the size of our ships by passenger count is if you compare a Princess ship of similar size to a ship in the contemporary market, you're going to find the Princess ship is going to have between 500 and 1,000 passengers less on the same size ship. So less passengers, less crowded, better service, it kind of all works together. So we are a destination leader. We go to all 7 continents. We cruise out of San Francisco. We do the Hawaiian Islands. We do the South Pacific. We even do Alaska out of San Francisco. We're all over Europe, whether you're in the Eastern Med or the Western Med, with stops in the Greek Isles, Turkey. We go into Civitavecchia, the port city for Rome, Naples, all over the Mediterranean. All over the Caribbean. We sail out of both Port Canaveral and Fort Lauderdale and do our Caribbean sailings there. Ships in Japan. We have ships down in Australia, New Zealand, South America, Mexico. So anywhere that you could possibly want to go, Princess can probably bring you there. Currently right now, this year, 350 destinations. We hit 89 countries, 457 itineraries with our 16 ships that are sailing. So we pretty much go everywhere. So this is an Alaska presentation. I'm going to talk just a little bit about some of the other things that we do, and then we're going to get fully into the Alaska product itself. But we are returning to San Juan this year. So we are going to be sailing out of San Juan, offering cruises down to the Southern Caribbean. If you live here in Florida, you're like, why would I want to fly to San Juan to take a ship when I can cruise right out of Canaveral or right out of Lauderdale? Well, the reason is that from San Juan, you can get into the deep Southern Caribbean on a 7-night sailing. And you can't do that from Florida. Florida is going to take a much longer sailing to get into the deep Southern Caribbean to some of the islands we go to here. So San Juan is a great alternative. Keep in mind, San Juan is a great port to sail out of. Puerto Rico is a beautiful island. It's American. You've got all the same stores and shops that you see up here, you're going to see down there. Beautiful beaches. It's a great place to fly into and stay a couple days before your cruise, or even stay a few days after your cruise. You've got the old city, the beautiful fort there down in Old San Juan, the rainforest down there. So Puerto Rico is a beautiful island. It's a great place to sail out of. And plus, in 7 days, you can get into the deep Southern Caribbean that you can't get into here out of Florida. So these are all the different islands that we hit on one cruise or another out of our sailings out of San Juan. So you can see we go as far down as Grenada. So again, really excited to be offering those sailings, and they start in October of this year. And then, of course, we have a huge presence over in Europe. These are basically all of the ports that we hit on one cruise or another. You can see heavily throughout the Mediterranean. We go out through the Strait of Gibraltar. We do the Canary Islands. We do the Azores. We go up the coast, Portugal, France. We do the British Isles, Scotland, Ireland, England. Some of those cruises in the British Isles actually go up into Iceland as well. We do sailings throughout the Baltic capitals, such as Stockholm and Oslo there in Northern Europe, Copenhagen. And then we even do sailings up all the way as far north as the Norwegian fjords, which are beautiful sailings among themselves. And then something else you should know about Princess is we are a premium cruise line. So we offer some unique sailings, and we bring on a lot of our sailings. We bring on guest speakers to come and talk about the different destinations that you're going to. And we do some really incredible, unique sailings. Like these are just a number of sailings that we're doing in July and August of next year, where there's a total solar eclipse will be going through the area of Europe. So we will position our ships within the shadow of the total solar eclipse. So it's not something that every single person out there really gets excited about, but there are a lot of people who do want to be in the path of a total solar eclipse, and our ships are going to be there in the Med to offer that to our clients. So our newest ship, the Star Princess, we just launched. She just started sailing a couple days ago. So she sailed out of Rome. She's going to do a nice 10-day Grand Western Mediterranean cruise there. And then she's going to cruise over to Fort Lauderdale, and she will be positioned in Fort Lauderdale for our winter season. So real exciting to have our newest ship in Fort Lauderdale. Rumor has it 2027, the Star will be coming with us up to Port Canaveral. So we'll have our newest ship in the fleet sailing out of Port Canaveral, which is exciting news for us. And then I always love to show this slide because this is really a great, we do the Circle Pacific cruise, and it's just amazing. It's got a 115-day or 131-day option, depending on what you want to do. But the cruise itself, it's 45 different UNESCO World Heritage sites, and it's amazing. So if you wanted to do the whole 131-day version, you would sail out of Lauderdale. You would do the full transit of the Panama Canal, up the west coast of Central America, stopping in Los Angeles. And then if you didn't want to do that Panama Canal sailing, you could just pick the ship up in LA and do 115 days from LA. But look at this itinerary. It's amazing. Out of LA, 4 stops in the Hawaiian Islands, down to Tahiti, over to Fiji, down to New Zealand, Australia, Singapore, Bali, Bangkok. You go up into Vietnam, you go up into Japan, South Korea. Numerous stops, like I said, in Japan. And then right across the northern part of the Pacific, a full Alaska cruise, Anchorage, Skagway, Juneau, Sitka, and Ketchikan, down into Vancouver, and then eventually ending up back in LA. So not a cruise that everybody can do, but one thing to keep in mind is these longer sailings like this, if you look at them on a price per day basis, they're much less expensive than a 7-day sailing in the Caribbean, just because they're so unique, they're so long, not everybody can do these sailings. So they are priced accordingly. And then, of course, big news is that we started sailing out of Port Canaveral this past winter. So we were here from November through April of this year. And then we are coming back in November of this year. And we will be in Port Canaveral basically year-round, starting in November of this year. So we'll have the Sky Princess there during the winter months, doing 6- and 8-day sailings. We will have the Caribbean Princess there during the summer months, doing our 7-night sailings. So just a quick look at the 6-day Eastern Caribbean, Nassau, Grand Turk, and San Juan. And then some of those also go into Amber Cove down in the Dominican Republic, just depends on the sailing date. 8-day sailing, Cozumel, Costa Maya, Belize City, and Roatan. And then the 7-night sailings over the summertime. Nassau, we go into our private islands in the Bahamas, Princess Keys, Grand Turk, and Amber Cove. So real exciting itineraries there right out of Port Canaveral. I know it's a great port for you to sail out of since it's only, really an hour and a half away. But what we came to talk about today is Alaska. So let's talk a little bit about Alaska. Princess is considered the #1 cruise line in Alaska. And it's not just us saying it, it's travel advisors. They vote every single year on who is the #1 cruise line in different destinations. And most times Princess wins out as the #1 destination in Alaska. And there's a number of reasons for that. We've been sailing in Alaska for 55 years. And 55 years ago, we made a huge decision that really affected everything moving forward. And it was the right decision to make. What we did is we helped Alaska, Princess Cruises, helped Alaska finance and build the docking areas in the major ports we go into Juneau, into Sitka, into Skagway, into Whittier. And 50 years ago, that really wasn't a big deal because there was hardly any ships up there. But now, 50 years later, you go up to Alaska now, all the cruise lines are sailing into Alaska. There's tons of ships up there, a lot more than there were 50 years ago. Dock space is at a premium. But guess who gets the #1 dock space in Alaska when they sail there? It's Princess. #1, right in the front, right there in front of the city. Some other cruise lines, they have to tender their guests in, or they have to dock kind of in an industrial area outside the city and then bus their passengers into the various cities that we go into. Doesn't happen with Princess. We have #1 placement there at all the ports of call we go to in Alaska. #2, there are only two ships can go into Glacier Bay per day up in Alaska. Guess what one of those ships is every single day? It's a Princess ship. So we made this great investment in Alaska, and it's really paid off for us 50 years later. So let's watch a little video on Alaska, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about it. All right. There we go. So we do love Alaska. I was so excited. I've only been at Princess now about 7 months. They sent me up to Alaska in August to see the different lodges that we operate up there. I was completely blown away. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But as we look at this, you may not recognize these publications, Travel Age West, Travel Weekly, but those are all publications in the travel industry that travel advisors read and vote on. So again, as you can see, Princess ends up #1 in Alaska most times. We've been doing it for 55 years now. We operate both the round trip cruises out of Seattle, which are 7-night sailings, and then we operate the cruise tours as well. So those are 7-night sailings from Vancouver up into Whittier. And from there, you can do a land tour, or you can fly into Northern Alaska, do your land tour first, and then catch the ship from Whittier and sail back down to Vancouver. Award-winning immersive experiences. We are a premium line, so we do bring guest speakers on to talk about the different experiences that they're going to have when they're in Alaska. This past summer, we had Jeff Corwin from the National Geographic and Discovery Channel on board our ships talking about it. We bring on, I'm sure maybe you've heard of the Iditarod sled dog race. We bring some sledders on board the ships. They bring puppies with them on board. So it's really a great experience and really lets you learn about what's going on in Alaska. Again, not only do we have the 7 nights round trip sailings, but we do offer the land packages, which we call cruise tours up in Alaska as well. And of course, Princess in Alaska is great for all ages. It's a very educational type of experience. If you've sailed with Princess before, you know that, we don't have the big water parks and slides and things like that on our ships, but that's not really the demographic we're going after. We're really going after more the families with educational type things. So what is a cruise tour? So a cruise tour is basically visiting Denali National Park, or doing the cruise, taking the rail, and then visiting Denali National Park with one of our lodges. So it's an amazing experience. You can do the land package for as short as 3 days, or really as many days as you want. I love this map. This is a great little map, and this basically shows you where our different lodges are. So you have the cruise from Vancouver, and then it ends up in Whittier, up in the middle there. And then you can see the rail service that goes up to where our lodges are. Now, keep in mind, when you do this, you can do the cruise first and then do the land stay, or you can do the land stay first and then do the cruise. The way I recommend it and the way that I prefer is that you fly as far as possible when you're starting your vacation. So you fly all the way out to Fairbanks, so you fly all the way out to Anchorage and start your land package there. You do the land stay first, spend 3 or more days, getting acclimated to doing the land, and then coming down to Whittier, taking the 7-day cruise back to Vancouver, and then flying home from Vancouver. The main reason we recommend, or that I recommend it like that, is really travel time. It is you can't believe how big this area is. When you're even looking from Whittier just to Vancouver, that's a 5-hour flight. So, it's a lot easier to fly back to Florida from Vancouver than it is to fly back from Fairbanks. So, again, it's really just a time thing. Either way, you're going to spend the exact same amount of time probably, but I think it's easier to fly as far as you can and start your vacation that way. And then you're flying after everything, you're all done and tired after vacation, you fly home to Vancouver, a much shorter flight. But with our rail service, we don't actually own the rail service itself. We do own some various cars that go on to the Alaska Railway. And these cars are beautiful. They're domed glass. They're 2-story cars. So you've got the domed glass viewing area on the top. Down on the bottom, you've got the restaurant cars. They've got open air viewing platforms. We do commentary on there. So you got somebody, a professional up there talking to you, telling you about what you're seeing out the sides of the train. And then, of course, the rail system is completely ADA accessible. So if you have any mobility issues, you won't have a problem boarding the train with us. So Voyage of the Glaciers is what we call our one-way sailings between Vancouver and Whittier. You have 2 glacier viewing experiences in Glacier Bay, and then we go into Hubbard Glacier or College Fjord, depending on the sailing. And then, of course, the ports of call on the cruise itself, Ketchikan, Juneau, and Skagway. So this map kind of shows you both. So you've got the round trip sailing out of Seattle that goes up through the Inside Passage, Ketchikan, Endicott Arm, Juneau, Skagway, and then back down to Seattle. And then you've got the Vancouver route in the red that goes into Ketchikan, Juneau, Skagway, and then eventually ends up in Whittier, right there by Anchorage. But this is the main reason that most people want to go to Alaska. They want to see Glacier Bay. Glacier Bay is amazing. Again, only 2 ships a day get into Glacier Bay. And this kind of shows you on a little bit of a map where Glacier Bay is located with a big national park there. And it's amazing when you sail in. Typically, it's pretty calm in there. You got the beautiful glaciers. They're calving. The big chunks of ice are crashing down into the water. So it's a pretty amazing experience when people get to go into Glacier Bay. And then, of course, with our trains, we offer 2 types of rail service, either direct to the Wilderness Rail or the Princess Rail service. The difference is the direct to the Wilderness Rail is when you take the train basically from Anchorage up into the McKinley Park or the Denali Lodge. And then the Princess Rail service is basically taking it from the Denali Lodge back to Whittier. But all the cruise tours that we sell feature some kind of rail service. So you always have the rail service there. And of course, riding on a train through the Alaskan wilderness is just amazing. And of course, you get the guide providing the expert commentary there as well. And then just some really cool pictures taking the train through Alaska. So much to see up there. And then, like I mentioned, Princess operates 5 different lodges up in Alaska. These lodges are not, these lodges are fully owned by Princess. They're manned by actual Princess employees. So we have the Denali Lodge, the Mount McKinley Lodge, Copper River, Kenai Peninsula, and Fairbanks. What you should really do is figure out exactly what you want in Alaska, what you want to do in Alaska, whether it's, seeing bears, fishing, hiking, whatever you want to do. And then matching up the lodges that are best suited for what you want to go and what you want to go do and see. So the lodges are all beautiful. I've basically the last month seen the Fairbanks Lodge, the Mount McKinley Lodge, and the Denali Lodge, and they were incredible. Food, amazing at the lodges. And then this kind of just, again, shows you a map of where the different lodges are. So you've got the Fairbanks Lodge is actually not on this one. It's the farthest north. You've got the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge on the side. The south end of the park, you've got the Mount McKinley Lodge. Down on the peninsula there, the Kenai Peninsula, the Kenai Fjords Lodge. And then, of course, the Copper River Princess Wilderness Lodge. So again, some lodges are better than others for different things. If you like to fish and wanted to make sure that you got in some fishing out there, Kenai Fjords or Copper River are probably the best two lodges to stay at. If you really want to spend more time in the park, Denali and the Mount McKinley lodges are going to be the way to go. Fairbanks Lodge is beautiful also. But the Denali and all the lodges are completely different. So the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, it's a larger lodge. It's got 663 rooms. It's actually set up in kind of an area where there's other shopping. There's other lodges that are kind of around that area. So in this area, you can always eat at the lodge, or there's other, like I said, smaller restaurants and things you can eat at. But you go out the back of the lodge and you've got the beautiful view of Denali, formerly known as Mount McKinley. So it's amazing. The lodge itself is set up right on a beautiful river. You've got great food there. You've got a lot of shopping and things to do. Anybody had halibut before? Halibut, I had it one other time up in Alaska. It was amazing. We were there for 5 days. I ate halibut 3 of the 5 days we were there because it was so good. But when you're in the Denali National Park, you've got basically 2 types of tours, the Denali National History Tour or the Tundra Wilderness Tour. Most of the cruise tours do include a park tour, and we always recommend booking early as well. One thing that's really cool is I did the tour, and you get on these, they look like school buses basically, but they've been modified. And the really cool thing is that the drivers have these incredible eyes, and they can spot wildlife anywhere. So you're driving down the road, there's mountains and things around, and all of a sudden he'll stop and he'll say, "Oh, there's a bighorn sheep over there," and you can't even barely see, it's 2 miles away. These little monitors drop down from the ceiling, and then the driver has this incredible telephoto lens, and he aims it out at the bighorn sheep, and then you can see it clearly on the map. It's a couple miles away, and it comes up real perfectly clear on there. But the cool thing about the bus ride is that as they're taking you through, when he's talking about the park and telling you different things, everybody's on the lookout for animals. So if anybody sees an animal, they say something, he stops immediately, and they get the viewing on the animal. It's pretty cool. So we saw bighorn sheep, we saw moose. We didn't get to see any bears when I was up there in August, unfortunately, but saw a lot. Nice tip, order a box lunch from the lodge so you have lunch on the bus. But of course, everybody wants to see the big 5 when they go to Alaska. They want to see the moose, they want to see brown or grizzly bears, they want to see the wolves, they want to see the bighorn sheep, they want to see the elk and reindeer. So it's amazing when you go up there. Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge is on the south end of the park. And the viewing right out the back, of course, is Mount McKinley or Denali. It's a little bit of a smaller, more remote lodge. It's about 45 minutes from the town of Talkeetna. But again, you get beautiful views of Denali. Anybody seen the show where they build tree houses? Yeah. There's a show on TV where it's on one of the channels. They build tree houses. They built a beautiful tree house right next to this lodge. So you're actually able to go over there and walk into it. It's probably about 1,000 square feet, but it's amazing. Has a beautiful deck on the back and great views of the mountains and the wilderness there. And that's kind of an upper view of that lodge as well. And then you can see Mount McKinley off in the distance there, or Denali. The Fairbanks Lodge, beautiful, right on the river. Real cool thing about staying at this lodge is you do a little paddle boat down the river. You go by where they're training with sled dogs, which is really cool. So they've got and the people along the river expect the paddle boat to come by every day. So they're always outside waiting for the paddle boat to come. When it goes by where they're training the sled dogs, they're out there doing some training. They talk, they communicate back and forth with the paddle boat and the guys on shore. You go through a cool little Indian village there as well, so it's really just an amazing spot to stay at the Fairbanks. Kenai Peninsula, a little bit farther south, so great fishing here. It's a small lodge. There's only 86 rooms. with it, but bungalow style rooms, wood burning fireplaces. So it's really very rustic and beautiful. And then, of course, the Copper River Princess Lodge off to the east a little bit more remote. Again, small, only 85 rooms there. You can do some beautiful tours out of this area as well. And again, great fishing also. So with Princess, you can basically there's 4 different ways you can book the cruise tours. The most popular is called the Denali Explorer, and that's going to be if you're doing a total of 10 to 13 nights. You can do Off the Beaten Path, which is going to take you off the railway over to the lesser known lodges, which is Copper River and the Kenai Peninsula. We have the Connoisseur tour, which is 12 to 17 nights. This is really the top end tour. So no matter where you go, you've got a guide with you. They're telling you about everything you're seeing, whether it's on a bus or at the lodge or just on land. No matter where you are, you've got somebody basically telling you exactly what's going on. Most of your meals are already included with that as well. So that's kind of the higher end way to do it. And then, of course, we offer on your own. So it is the most affordable option. And you can just book the 7-day cruise and do 3 or 4 nights on land. We give the rail service. You're staying in the Denali area, but nothing else is really arranged for you. You're kind of doing it on your own. But 4 different ways to do Alaska cruise tours with Princess. Now, one thing I will say after doing the lodges in August is definitely consider a meal plan. So when you're at the lodges, the one lodge has other shopping areas and restaurants around it, but the other lodges don't. So if you don't have a meal plan, you're probably going to end up eating in the lodge anyway. And the prices in the lodge are fairly expensive. So having the meal plan is going to save you probably 30 to 40% on your meals for that. I found the dinners were typically, the halibut, typically about $40. For dinner. But again, the meal plan, you're able to pick basically anything on the menu, and the menu is very extensive. You can pick anything on the menu and order it. It's all included in the meal plan if you have the meal plan. But again, the meal plan, when you first look at it, it might look like it's a little bit expensive, but when you start figuring out how much the dinners actually are, it's the way to go. It's going to save you money in the long run. And then, of course, our newest ship, Star Princess, coming out. She will be coming over to Fort Lauderdale in just the next couple of weeks. And once she's in Lauderdale, she'll do the Caribbean season, the winter season with us in Lauderdale. But what we're doing is we're moving her out to Alaska next year. So she'll be doing our most popular itinerary, which is the 7-night round trip out of Seattle. And we'll have her out there for next year. The one thing I can say about Alaska is this. Alaska is not like the Caribbean. It's not a place where you're going to cruise, once or twice a year. It's a place where most people only go once. So if you're only going to go out there once, I just urge you to do the land as well as the cruise. There's so much to see out there. If you do just the cruise, you're going to have a great time, but you're going to miss so much of the land and what staying in Alaska actually has to offer. So maybe if you don't have the money this year, instead of going this year, maybe save up for the next year, but do the land with the cruise because it's definitely the best way to go. And again, it's a place you'll probably only go to once in your life. The Alaska season, it's very short, May through September. Pretty much anytime you go, you've got the great chance of seeing whales, of seeing bears, of fishing, doing great hiking. May and September being the shoulder months are the least expensive times to go. July being right in the middle of summer is going to be your most expensive time to go. Great thing about going in September, though, you got a great chance to see the Northern Lights, whether you're in Fairbanks or down in Anchorage. That can happen pretty much at any time. So that's one benefit of going then. And of course, May and September being a little bit less expensive is another nice factor there as well. So I mentioned the Star Princess is just launched. Her sister ship, the Sun Princess, was launched this time last year. So they are identical sister ships. And the Sun Princess last year was actually named the best mega cruise ship by Condé Nast Traveler, which is really a big award for us. And we're hoping the same comes with the Star for this year. So if you're looking for something a little bit more, we are a premium cruise line, but if you'd like to cruise on more luxury brands, we do have a product on board the Sun and the Star Princess that we call the Sanctuary Collection. It's kind of the best of both worlds. It's like a luxury product on board a premium cruise line. So with the Sanctuary Collection, it's a ship within a ship concept. Those guests that are in the Sanctuary Collection, they have their own restaurant that they use that nobody else on the ship gets to use. They've got their own lounge that they can use, again, that nobody else on the ship uses. They've got their own pool area on top with a restaurant that, again, only those in the Sanctuary Collection are able to utilize. So it's really nice. This is really great for multi-generational cruisers. So let's say you're the grandparents and, over the years you've amassed a certain amount of money, and when you cruise, you typically like to go on Seabourn or something high end, but you want to take the kids and the grandkids. And so, the kids and grandkids aren't going to have a real good time on a Seabourn cruise because it's a little more stuffy for them. So they can come on board the Sun or the Star. They can get all the luxury that they want being in the Sanctuary Collection. And then the rest of the family on the same ship enjoying similar activities, but just in a balcony or in another cabin or another area of the ship. So it's really great for those multi-generational cruisers. So in the Sanctuary Collection, you've got 80 suites, 123 mini suites, 12 deluxe balconies. So you do have different price points. They all get the exact same amenities. It just depends on where you're staying on board the ship. One thing I love about Princess is how flexible our dining is. When I joined the cruise industry, 30, 35 years ago, there was one dining available. It was traditional dining. So you either ate at 5:30 or at 7:30. You sat in the same restaurant at the same table with the same waiters and the same busboy every single night. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually kind of a cool concept. You get to know your waiter. By the second or third night, he's bringing you that martini that you ordered the first night, and he knows you're going to want it every single night. So it's always nice to get that familiarity. But people like different options. So Princess offers all the different options for your dining. Everybody, when you book a Princess cruise, you're automatically set up on traditional dining. So you choose whether you want the early dining at 5:30 or the late dining at 7:30. You've always got a table in a restaurant to go sit at if you want to. That seat is always going to be there for you. But some people don't like traditional. They want to be a little bit more flexible. So maybe one night they want to eat at 6 and another night they want to eat at 7:30. Well, they can just go with the flexible dining option. They can just make reservations and go eat at a different restaurant on those nights at a different time if they want to. Or the third option, those people who don't like to make any plans at all, they're out on deck at 6 o'clock, they're having a cocktail, they're supposed to be at dinner, but they're having a cocktail, they're watching the sunset, they don't want to run off to dinner. They don't have to. They can just go in and walk into any of the restaurants that they want to and be seated and eat without a reservation. So really the best of all three worlds there with our dining. We can pretty much accommodate anything. So something that Princess came out with about 7 years ago is the medallion class. And this is a really, really cool concept. So the medallion itself, everybody who cruises with Princess gets a medallion. The medallion is not the whole necklace with the band. The medallion is that middle part, the blue and the silver. The thing is that people who cruise with Princess a lot, they like to show their status off because the medallions are different color depending on your status and how many times you've cruised with us before. So we sell these beautiful pieces of jewelry. People get to pop the medallion into that jewelry and they wear them around their neck or they wear them on their wrist, like in a bracelet. I just put mine in my pocket. But the medallion can really help you out when you're on the cruise. So first of all, the medallion works in conjunction with your smartphone. And when you register everything before you ever get on the ship, the medallion, basically all that information is loaded from the smartphone into the medallion. So when you get to the pier, you go up to check in, they scan your medallion, boom, you're on the ship. So it's the very first day, you're walking down the hall, you're going to your cabin for the first time. And if you've ever cruised with Princess, you know that we've got these little TV monitors next to all the different doors for the cabins. You're walking down the hall towards your cabin, you're getting close, and all of a sudden you see the monitor light up and it says, welcome Mr. and Mrs. Jones. You get to the cabin door, you're right at the cabin door, you don't have to fish around in your pocket for a key. The medallion has unlocked your cabin door for you, so you go right inside utilizing the medallion that way. And then the medallion does a lot of other things for you. When you purchase drinks, when you purchase anything on board the ship, they scan the medallion instead of having to reach in your pocket and grab a card. You can view and plan all your activities with the medallion. You can make reservations for dinner and things like that. You've got the daily planner listed on there, so you don't have to carry that piece of paper around that they put in your cabin every single night. The medallion also has some really cool other features. So you're cruising with a few other cabins, and you want to tie all the medallions together. You can link all the medallions together, and that way you can find each other on the ship. So you can literally track, if you link your medallion to other people, you can literally find exactly where they are on the ship by looking at your smartphone. You can tell exactly, and when I say exactly, it tells you the room they're in, the deck they're on, the seat they're in, exactly where they are. So it's very easy to find somebody. So, you know, it's 5 o'clock, you're looking for Bob, so you guys can go have a drink before dinner. Oh, Bob is over here, so let's go get Bob and take him to dinner. Or it's 11:30 at night, you're looking for your spouse, and oh, they're shocking, they're in the casino again. So the cool thing about the medallion is if you're an adult, you can turn the tracking feature off. So if you don't want to be tracked, you don't want anybody to know you're in the casino at 11:30 at night, you can just go turn that feature off. If you're a child under the age of 18, you can't turn that off. So it really gives parents a peace of mind when they have their kids on board. They can always track them and find exactly where they are. A couple of other things with the medallion. It includes something called Ocean Now Delivery. So we all know what room service delivery is. You have food or drinks delivered right to your room. On Princess, we have something called Ocean Now Delivery. You can be anywhere on the ship and order some food or order some drinks, and they will deliver it directly to where you are. You can be up on the pool deck with 500 other people running around, and they know exactly where your seat is. They can see it, and they bring the food directly to you. So you're up, you're having a drink, you're halfway through your beer, you're a little hungry. You know, instead of having to go up and go to the bar, you just order right through your medallion. You order another beer and a hamburger, and boom, they come and deliver it right to you. So it's really a cool feature. And one last thing with it, you get 2% back on purchases in port. So I'm sure you've seen when you go into a port of call, you're walking by the nice jewelry stores or the watch stores, the perfume, and you'll see there'll be a big sign outside that says, you know, this store recommended by Princess. You go into that store, you buy something. Instead of them scanning your credit card, they scan your medallion. The charge doesn't go on your credit card. It goes right to your onboard account, onboard the ship. And then we give you 2% back on all those purchases in port. So we know if you bought a couple bottles of liquor, 2% probably isn't much back. But if you're down in the islands and you're buying some nice jewelry or a nice watch that's going to run into the thousands, 2% can definitely add up. So again, 2% back on all your purchases that you make in port. All right. So with Princess, you can buy a Princess cruise just like any other cruise. That includes your accommodations on board the ship. It includes your free food, your free entertainment on board the ship, but doesn't include any other perks like alcoholic beverages or specialty dining, things like that. But Princess offers something that we call Princess Plus and Princess Premier. Watch a quick video on it, and I'm going to explain how it works. So, all right, so you can add Princess Plus or Princess Premier onto your booking. And let me just kind of explain how it works. I'm going to show you the pricing and how it works. So you have your regular cruise already booked. You want to add Princess Plus onto it. It's an additional $65 per person per day. And automatically, you're probably doing some math in your head. 7-day cruise, 65 a day. It's going to be over $450 additional per person. Seems kind of expensive. But let's break it down and let me show you how it actually works. $65 per person per day. But it includes your gratuities. Gratuities are $16 per person per day. You have to pay your gratuities, so automatically that's included, 16 per person per day. Your Wi-Fi is included. You do not have to buy Wi-Fi. You know, some people go out and they cruise, they completely disconnect from everything, and they don't bring their phones and they don't get Wi-Fi. But what we found is the vast majority of our clients do purchase Wi-Fi. They want to know what's going on at home with their cats or their house or their kids. Wi-Fi itself is $25 per person per day. So You buy the Wi-Fi, you have the gratuities and the Wi-Fi right there, $41 per person per day. You're probably going to spend anyway. This is 65. What are you getting for that extra $24 a day? You're getting the plus beverage package. So you're getting the plus beverage package, alcoholic beverages, up to 15 different alcoholic beverages per day, a limit of $15 per beverage. You're getting 4 casual dining experiences. So with Princess, we have our free restaurants, we have our specialty dining, which is more high end, typically $45 to $50 to eat there. We also have our casual dining restaurants that are about $20, typically seafood and barbecue, things like that. So when you have Princess Plus, you get 4 casual dining experiences included in that. You get the room service delivery included and the Ocean Now delivery. So that's Princess Plus. So you can see once it's broken down, it's not really that much more to pay based on what you're going to have to pay anyway. And if you look at some of our competitors, just their drink packages nowadays, drink packages up to $80 and $90 per person per day without any of these other things included. It's a great deal on Princess to do Premier or Plus. So if you like to do something a little bit nicer, oops. Oh, I skipped that. Oh, there we go. So Princess Plus and Princess Premier. So Princess Premier is kind of the upgraded version of the Plus. It's an additional $100 per person per day. But again, let's look at what's included. Gratuities are included. Your Wi-Fi is included, and up to 4 devices. I don't know who has 4 devices themselves. Typically, people have 2. They've got their phone and their laptop, but it is up to 4 devices per person. The premium beverage package. So unlimited number of drinks as expensive as $20 each, which pretty much covers pretty much every single drink on the ship. That's all included with the beverage package. You get unlimited dining in the casual dining restaurants, unlimited dining in the specialty dining restaurants. And Princess has some amazing specialty dining options. You can eat in specialty dining every single night of the cruise if you want. A ShoreX credit of up to $300 per person. And that ShoreX credit it's not an onboard credit that can be used for anything. It can only be used if you buy shore excursions. And you don't have to buy them on the ship. If you previously bought them before you ever got on the ship, which you should do, you should pre-buy them. The ShoreX credit is applied to your account once you're on board the ship. It includes the Ocean Now delivery, the room service. The last thing it includes is the photo package. Photo packages have really they're kind of like the redheaded stepchild out there. Back in the day when I first started cruising, the photographers were running around the ship. They were taking pictures of you out by the pool, at dinner. No matter where you were, the photographers were there taking pictures of you. And then they put them all up on the wall, and you go through and pick your pictures out and purchase them. And that was kind of the old way to do it. And then once cell phones came out, people really stopped buying the photo packages as much because they're taking their own pictures. And the photo package prices got kind of expensive. So if you have Princess Premier, you basically search out the ship photographers. They're professionals. Have them take as many pictures as they possibly can, out by the pool, at dinner, formal nights, all of that. They're going to take some great pictures because at the very end of the cruise, you get a download of every picture they took of you. So whether it was 5 pictures or 5,000, you get all of those pictures included. So it's definitely a great value, including the photo package with that as well. So with that said, that's the end of my presentation on Princess. And what I'd like to do is kind of open it up to see if anybody has any questions. This is an Alaska presentation, so anything on Alaska or any other cruise that I may or may not have talked about today. Any questions? Yes?
You can do the land-only package.
You can. If you don't want to do the cruise, you can actually do a land-only package. You can fly into either Anchorage or fly into Fairbanks and do just the land package, yes. And you can do that for as short as 3 days or as long as you want. So we do sell that completely separately. Yes?
So many things are changing in the cruise industry. What is the policy with stock options and military, flying military?
That is a great question, and I didn't even bring that up. So stock options. So Princess is owned, and we've been owned by the Carnival Corporation now for 15, 20 years. If you own 100 shares or more of Carnival stock, you automatically get a 10% discount on your cruise. If you are a military, whether you are retired military, whether you just served a couple years and you got your DD 214 and got out, or whether you're active military, you automatically get an onboard credit of up to $250, again, based on the length of the sail. So we do offer those two options. And it's good, and those are combinable with any promotion that we've got out there, no matter what the promotion is, those two things are combinable with it. Any other questions? I just got back from Alaska. You must have some questions.
You know, but the railway up when you get up to Alaska, are there any options to get to Vancouver by a little? And what doesn't like?
I would think that, would you happen to know that?
To Vancouver by rail, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of rail journeys going out of Vancouver, but not to and from the cruise experience that I'm aware of.
Something tied to.
But can you get to Vancouver on a train from here?
From here. So there's a lot of there's broken rail journeys that I don't think that it actually goes all the way through. From Florida, I'm almost positive.
She would be the expert.
We can look into it to verify, John, but I'm almost positive it's not.
And you have a second?
Yeah,
question?
one more question unrelated to that. We're a long time. cruise with another line, And you have amenities built up over a period of time.
Uh-huh.
Is there any program in place to move amenities over and grease in the night? Something.
Yeah, so that's been talked about. The question was basically, do we take into account another cruise line's repeat passenger program or loyalty program and extend it over to Princess? And we actually don't. Princess is owned, and there's a number of Princess and Holland America, both owned by the Carnival Corporation, but all the lines are basically kept separate. So they're it's been talked about, and it's certainly something that could happen in the future, but at this time it's not in place.
When we were on cruise bus. And when they said that it was,
They said that
the crossovers. We give benefits crossovers.
we do not have crossovers.
Okay, the next question.
But we do have the benefits of the Carnival stockholder option applies to any of the different lines that Carnival owns.
Okay, next question.
Yes.
When are the biting bugs the worst? And what's
One of the what?
the biting bugs the worst?
So May typically is not as bad because it's still a little bit chillier up there. You know, when you get into July, early August, you're gonna have more mosquitoes and bugs. We didn't really, I was there, like I said, I was there in early August. I didn't notice any bugs really as far as mosquitoes.
I've never, and in my blood is like the blood that all of the vampires love to suck. And I did not have an experience with mosquitoes bad at all. I've heard about them. The mosquitoes are as big as birds there, you know, like it's the bird species of Alaska. But I've never experienced it myself either. And every tour director I've had has always said, after it rains, the mosquitoes come out. But if you're not around rain, they're not bad. And I also have not had that experience that they've been horrific. But if you are there when they're bad, then you'll talk about it, is what I understand. And it's not a particular time of year necessarily, like.
We had some rain in August and we didn't really have any mosquitoes.
Yeah, I've been in May, June, and August as well.
Yes,
Yes, I've never been on a cruise before.
okay.
Water scared, but I'm going to go to Alaska with my wife. And how do you manage? We're doing a land and sea cruise. That's what I want to do.
Mhm.
How do you manage luggage?
Yeah.
I feel like if you see people like dragging their bags everywhere, 2 bags, or I've heard that some cruise lines will say you can leave a bag with us while you do the land, so you're not tripping everything around. What do people do?
So basically, I just went through this experience in August. Basically, you've got your luggage. When you're at the lodge, you put the luggage out at night. You don't see the luggage again. They come by and they pick it up. They put it on a bus. It's transported either on the bus or on the train to your next destination. So you're not having to lug your luggage around. What is recommended though is you bring a small backpack or something with a change of clothes or something like that, because the weather changes up there frequently, and you want to kind of be layered. But you don't have to lug your big bags around because those are all taken care of on the cruise trip.
Okay, my wife pictures carrying like a regular suitcase, carry on, and then a backpack or something. Is that what people do?
Yes, yep, and they'll transport whatever luggage you set outside of your hotel room tonight, so whether you've got a big bag and then maybe a smaller bag, and then you carry the knapsack around with you. That's really the way to go.
Big follow-up, does Princess have a laundry service on the ship?
We have laundry service that can be done professionally on the ship.
Yeah.
Or the ships even have laundry machines if you wanted to just go and do your own laundry on the ship. So yeah, that is an option.
The answer to someone's question, according to Google, you'll take a bus. On a train.
Oh, that's pretty.
To Vancouver?
But from where though?
Well, I think I asked her from Vancouver to Whittier and it said you take a bus.
Oh, of course, yeah, you can do Vancouver to Whittier, you can do, there's a lot of transportation, but you're talking about from Florida?
Correct.
Yeah, from Florida,
That's right.
transportation, yeah. We could, I'll look into train routes, it might be a little broken up though, the journey, our train options are. Yeah, there you go, we'll get you some good drugs.
Going to that around the world trip, Sydney and.
Oh, I know,
I did a Alaska cruise land tour many years ago. It was fantastic, but I was disappointed in 3 different areas. Well, actually, no, well, stuff like this, but as in Denali, for one example, was in Denali, it was the end of August, beginning of September, and that's kind of usually rainy season.
Yeah.
Never saw that, because of the clouds and everything. I didn't know it was the road that even takes you to Denali, you can't drive up to see it either.
No, you can't.
But it's, so anyway, part of my question is there a better time of the year to go, so you can see those great pictures like you know,
Well, when I was there in early August, we really lucked out because there was not a cloud in the sky, and when we were in the Mount McKinley Lodge, and the mountain Denali was just right there. There was not a cloud around. The guy said that had happened 3 times that summer only. So it's really, he said, 15 to 20% chance you get to see the mountain without the cloud cover. So there's really not a better time than others. It can really just open up at any time and be clear. It will be cloudy.
another disappointment was well, I didn't really have very many options to go fishing during this grand sea tour. But when I did have little chances, I realized it was too late in the season for salmon. And I really didn't have, so you were talking about fishing, a lot of fishing.
Yeah.
There's seasons for that kind of stuff.
There are.
So I guess it depends on what kind of fish you want to fish for, the season you go on to.
Yeah, and if you're just catch and release, or if you're
Plus, I expected to eat so much king crab that I would never want to eat king crab again. I found out it was non-existent. It comes out of Alaska, but you couldn't find it except for $60 a pound.
yeah, and I was surprised about that as well. But the halibut is plentiful up there, and oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I didn't even eat salmon up there. I had halibut pretty much every night.
Yeah, you can, and going back to the fishing, you can fish halibut, on certain itineraries and certain times, and then you
Guess
can
what? I like
do salmon, but of course, the salmon run, and you go either beginning the salmon run, into the salmon run, and experience wise, it definitely does depend, and you are correct, it is still like that $60 a pound, who knows? With inflation, maybe. Yeah, no, it's definitely, it's pricey, but I mean, you can definitely get it fresh there, but you do pay for it. Yeah, you definitely can
So I
go.
expected to see on a cruise.
Yeah.
Menu. This in Alaska.
Right.
I was surprised it wasn't.
Is Sitka,
I was too. I'm sorry.
Sitka not a port, Princess?
It is on some salmon,
It is.
but not the majority. There'll be 1 or 2 in there when we have to change ports to call out. So we'll hit in.
Oh, so it's not planned, it's not a.
Well, it is, but it's not one of the main ports. So
It's
There's a
only a
couple of one-offs.
particular itinerary.
Certain length of money.
Yeah, just certain itineraries, it's not necessarily even the length, it's just you have to pick the right week that the ship is going. One of the things, and I don't know if Tom talked about it in the presentation, but talking about being a part of the 20% club. and getting to see Denali.
Yeah.
If you really want to see Denali, you want to capitalize on the amount of time you're spending in Denali National Park. Don't do an itinerary that only stays there one night, because you'll get in via the train or by bus or whatever. And if you're only spending one night in Denali, then you only have one day's worth of viewability. So if you, and of course, Princess has 2 lodges that are absolutely spectacular. If you take more time and spend more time in Denali, you'll have more of an opportunity to see the mountain. And what did you talk a little bit? I'm sorry for not
No, go ahead.
hearing it. Did you talk about the tundra wilderness? I don't remember the names of them. So the natural history versus tundra wilderness.
I did not.
Okay, so does Princess have 2 of them? 2 options when you go into Denali?
We do. We have the shorter and the longer.
Perfect. So there's the opportunity, there's only national park vehicles are allowed to go into Denali. So you can't actually go up to Denali and touch the mountain or anything like that. But you can do a few things. You can do a helicopter sightseeing tour that you get to see it a little bit better. And then there's 2 options. There's an option that you go, both of them are by bus, through the national parks. And they bring you in and they go like 4 hours, which is the short version. You go on a converted school bus. They will drop a TV down if there's dull sheep in the mountains, and they'll zoom in so you can see it up close. But then of course there's moose out there and various other wildlife that you'll get to go see, kind of stop along the way. The long one, and my terminology could be wrong, but I'm gonna call it the Tundra Wilderness Tour. The long one's the Tundra Wilderness Tour. You go the deepest into Denali, that a vehicle can go. And the shorter one is the Natural History Tour. Again, it could be called something different. That's right, okay. So the Natural History Tour, you kind of get different sites along the way, but it's a little bit shorter. I actually prefer the shorter version, but I've been on both. And so there's varying degrees, and your advisor can talk to you about specifically what you want to see and what you're trying to get out of it and how it matches up with the best Princess itinerary. Whether you want to go to Kenai, whether you want to go to fishing, whether you want to spend more time in Glacier Bay or whatever it is. Your advisor can help you pair up what itinerary is best for you and what time of year is best for you, so you go fishing at the right time for the right, the right fish. Because they change. So and then of course price point fits a lot of times when kids are in school still. So beginning of the season and end of the season for Alaska also helps make decisions with things.
Yep.
Did you have anything else? Any other questions?
When is the best time to see the northern lights? What month or?
September. The later you go, the better.
The latest in the season you possibly can go, and the most north. September. So I did a Alaska Yukon itinerary, and while I was in the Yukon territory, I saw the northern lights at the end of August. I was one of the last cruises of the season, the very end of August. Yeah, you've got the best because daylight, right? So you've got the closer to the winter season that we get, the more the daylight, starts closing in and you have more darkness. And when the dark is out, obviously, is when you can see the northern lights. So it's better the later in the season. The latest in the season you can possibly go is the best time to go for the northern lights.
You think?
Yeah, cruising at or going up there in early August, it was light until about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Same, like we went in June a couple years ago and it was light until 11 o'clock at night, almost midnight. So you can't see the northern lights at 11 o'clock at night when it's sunshine up. Made our itinerary amazing because we were out trolloping around Denali, you know, and it was 11:45 at night. We're like, wait, it's almost midnight. It's past our bedtime. So it was a great time to go, but not for the Northern Lights necessarily in June.